Adam Schefter. Gator, you saw that he said the Raiders set an asking price for Maxx Crosby?
Yeah, I think he said this in a podcast. I saw somebody had posted this on Twitter and attributed it to Adam Schefter. Okay. And that the asking price from the Raiders for Maxx Crosby was 2 first-round picks and a player. That seems steep because in addition to giving up your draft capital and someone off your roster, you're taking on a player that's getting paid $30 million. So if you put it in terms of what the Lions could do, if you wanted the Lions to make this happen, first of all, it'll never happen because $30 million for one player when you're strapped for cash and against the cap, it's very unlikely to happen. Let's say you can get past that hurdle. You free up enough cap space. Well, if you're going to trade a player, it's going to have to be a player of substance. And any player of substance that you have, you're going to have to accelerate their signing bonus that you're going to have to eat up. So now you got even more cap space. Now that $30 million player that you're taking on in Maxx Crosby ends up being like a $40 million player. So that makes it even more difficult. But the 2 first-round picks is what it's too, I think it's too much.
So
in addition,
they basically want the Stafford return.
Yes.
Okay.
Or what they want is the Micah Parsons return.
Yeah. Good for them for asking.
Yeah.
The only way this would really be under consideration for me is if I just had no interest in the player. And I can't imagine the Raiders wanting a player that I'd have no interest in. Because if there were no player attached, I could see being convinced to do this. Because you got to consider, the way I see it is 1 first-round pick. And what I mean by that is Maxx Crosby, you're not going to get a Maxx Crosby kind of player at 17.
Probably not.
So give up 17 and just cash in 17 for Maxx Crosby, and they'll throw in another first-round pick is the way I look at it.
I understand that.
But when you start getting into a player, I'm trying to figure out who's a player they would want that we wouldn't. You know?
I like Maxx Crosby a ton, but again, I think it's almost a non-starter because of the salary you'd be taking on. Yep. So it's tough there. But as far as giving up draft picks for him, I'm with you about I look at the first-round pick and I'm trying to get the next Maxx Crosby anyway. So why not take the known commodity, which is, in fact, Maxx Crosby? But it doesn't seem to work out. It will work out for some other team. There will be teams out there that can make this deal happen. They've got the cap space, and they can go ahead and swing that deal. And if you're the Raiders, are you doing that or not? You know, because the Raiders have this. They're a franchise. They're changing up on the fly here. They don't have a quarterback. They've got the top pick in the draft. Everybody thinks they're going to take Mendoza, and they most likely will. So if you're going to go there, is that enough to where you can say and appeal to Maxx Crosby? Well, we're getting our quarterback, but it's a rookie quarterback, and if Max wants out of there, then if he wants out of there, go ahead and make the deal. You know, but if you can convince him to stick around, there's advantages to that too because you have Maxx Crosby.
So we've talked a lot about the priorities and where edge rusher fits. Another edge rusher fits. They need another edge rusher. Right now, they only have 2 under contract. So they need to sign some guys. And it might be bring back some of their own guys.
And one is the rookie from last year who didn't play. Is that?
Yes. Who is the only player that I could think of that I would give up.
Hassanin?
Yeah. Who I can't imagine they'd say, we want that 6th-round edge rusher. But if you had an edge rusher, you could take one away. And Hassanin wouldn't be a cap hit.
Right.
He'd be a dead cap hit. He would be, of $25,000. I'm not used to talking in 25,000. It doesn't sound right.
25 million, no, 1,000.
So if I'm clearing cap space, I'm clearing cap space for a center first. But I can be convinced if it's a player like Hassanin, but this goes back to the classic sports talk topic. Would you do this trade? Oh no, I'd do it for less. Okay, great. Right. But that's like, hey, I wanted the Range Rover at the the Ford Edge price, whatever. All respect to Ford Edge is a fine car, but you're just talking about if you're not going to pay the price, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally know what you're saying. And then if you're the Lions, because I agree, I want to put any kind of cap space that you're able to free up, I think has to go towards a center.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the several centers that's out there in the free agent market that you think is a vast upgrade over what you had, go get them. And I would also hope that there's enough money left over that you can bring back Al-Quadi Muhammad. And if you're able to get out of this deal, would you rather have Al-Quadi Muhammad, the center that you're going to get in free agency, that's a big upgrade over what you had, and your draft picks?
Probably that.
Or Maxx Crosby.
Probably that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's one of the best centers out there. The problem with the Crosby talk, and this is becoming a bigger problem, is I feel like we're seeing his name attached more and more to Hammond. And that scares me.
Yeah, I don't want to see him playing Hammond.
And if that's sort of the Armageddon scenario. Now, you can't make a trade. You shouldn't be motivated to make a trade to block someone else from making the trade.
No.
But, and ESPN.com did some, trades we would like to see. And one of them was Crosby to Hammond. And that, I'll see if I can find what
it was. Crosby to Hammond in exchange for the Hammond wide receiver. Was it DJ Moore?
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
That was it?
Well, I think in draft capital too, but I think that was the player. It was a first-round pick, and there were a lot. I saw another story. I might be getting stories jumbled. There was another one where teams would make pitches for Maxx Crosby, and all of them were basically at least a first-round pick, a player, and then a lot of them had more capital, like another fourth-round pick or whatever.
Right.
But that was before the Schefter offering that said that they want 2 first-round picks and a player. They should want 2
Yeah, you kind of hope that's where it starts, right? That's the beginning of a conversation. So this is our price, and then you talk them down a little bit.
Yeah.
But you're not the only team. And my guess is, as you said, it probably won't work for Detroit. It probably will work for somebody.
Hopefully not Hammond.
No, exactly. 248-539-9797. If you are just joining us and haven't heard the news from the NFL today, Indiana passed a bill that apparently met all the Bears. State of Indiana passed a bill that met all the Bears' demands. That they're saying it's a meaningful step and that the door is open and the Bears are moving forward to a move to Hammond, Indiana. And so we've made a rule on the show that will stand moving forward until further notice. The division is now made up of Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, and Hammond. So, anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know if people would pay that price, but if you have an opinion, 248-539-9797. Is it a deal you would make? Feedback coming in to the Karsch and Anderson inbox. I do want to read one of these frat party stories.
Okay.
Met John Jansen's brother at a college party at SVSU. That, John Jansen has a brother that is one of the most excitable, enthusiastic, fun guys I've ever talked to. I bet he's great at frat parties.
Another tall guy, right?
Yes.
I met him at the softball game we played a few years ago.
Yeah.
Really nice guy.
Good dude. 248-539-9797. More of your phone calls and feedback coming up. Anybody willing to give up 2 firsts and a player for Maxx Crosby? Detroit has been just dying to get Maxx Crosby here. Heck, I think Maxx Crosby's another guy that wants to play in Detroit, just like Quinn Hughes. But seems like a steep price to pay, and I don't think a lot of people would do that. 2 firsts and a player. It's Karsch and Anderson, 97.1.